Friday, and today we are blessed to be hosting someone I'll call a great entrepreneur. I know whenever you call him, he says he's also trying to still build. But I think being the fact that you are building already and you've made some progress is really based on the statistics. We have quite a number of businesses that go even before go beyond the 1 year or whatever. But I think you're building something, and I believe that the audience can be able to learn from you. So thank you so much, everyone that has created time to come through. As indicated today.
Recording in progress.
Today we want to just go through a conversation on the aspect of the entrepreneur in you transitioning from the corporate world to running a business. Now, why this topic is very important is because we have some people who are retiring. I'll start from that side. And one of the things that always comes to their mind when they are retiring is starting a business. Why? Because they want to be able to derive certain levels of income. We also have people who have lost their jobs, and at this time when they are trying to look for one of the things that are trying to look at is entrepreneurship. And there are also certain people who are trying out business while they're employed, because either it is out of passion, or they want to supplement their income, or they just want to be able to try out something, to try out what they can do. So Mr. Aggrey Nshekanabo, who is our speaker today, has tested both two sides. He's been in the corporate world as a strategic communications professional, as well as a grants business development person. And he now runs what you can call Naria Motel, where he's the team leader and the chief marketing officer. In addition to just being part of Naria Motel, which is located in Naria, Mr. Aggrey Nshekanabo is also running Nyambura Safaris Limited. So he'll be able to share with us how he has managed that transition himself, and what he thinks somebody who either wants to transition or is in employment needs to know about this other world, such that by the time you step into it, I know it looks to be the world that everyone should actually be into. I think we've had quite a number of people say entrepreneurship, if you don't want to, or if you want to make more money, you need to be able to jump to entrepreneurship. One of the conversations that I had with Aggrey is also the fact that not everyone is actually created for entrepreneurship. So we'll also be able to dig deep into that conversation. But at this point in time, allow me to welcome Mr. Aggrey to just tell us about himself and the work he does, and then we shall dive deep into our conversation today. Mr. Aggrey Nshekanabo, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alexander, for inviting me to share some insight to this great topic. Is it me? Looks like there is an echo. Can you hear me now? Hello?
I can hear you. Proceed.
Okay, good. Because I was hearing myself, typical Ugandan, where callers in these radio shows, they want to hear themselves speak on the radio. Yes, Aggrey is not, where do I begin from? I'm pleased and excited to be sharing the little that I know about transition. And allow me share from the beginning that we can have several transitions from the corporate world to the work of Juakali, which we sanitize and call entrepreneurship, and fail, go back, look for a job, and then come back to entrepreneurship like that. You would thank God that at the end of your journey, you're not on the curve of going back to look for a job. But when you're on your journey to building a business. Now, one of the things that I need to begin with is that entrepreneurship as a course, as a study course at university in Uganda, is not more than 20 years old. And therefore, it's a new thing. And today, when you meet young people who have studied entrepreneurship, which they abbreviate as ENT at A level, it's one of the highly performed subjects, better than economics and other related courses. Also, statistics have indicated that Uganda is very entrepreneurial, and we're very creative people in starting businesses, but then also the mortality rate of those businesses is higher. These statistics are very sobering, that when we choose to, and people will tell you, oh, you need to follow your passion, you need to earn from your passion, you need to, in the world of entrepreneurship, I'll tell you that passion doesn't work. There must be something bigger than passion that keeps you doing what you're doing. I have shared in some spaces that sometimes you have no option, it is survival. So if you must survive, then really you have to survive. Your passion is secondary. So I may say things that are discouraging. I am not here to wax anybody or to appease anyone. You will hear from people who will talk about entrepreneurship because they have studied it, and they have studied to teach it, not to practice it. So those are two things. The other day, somebody was asking me that, I am a teacher of chemistry, but they have studied to teach, not to practice. So, and then also the other thing that in this country that you will be seeing, or as you may know, is that the people who are really into enterprise are not known, or who have had a life through enterprise are not known. They are not people you would look up to in terms of integrity and all that. And you're like, will I make it? And you wonder if you'll make it, because you feel those who have made it in terms of enterprise have godfathers and things like that. But I can also confirm that there are those who have made it, and entrepreneurship, it does not necessarily mean that you have to have a corner shop. There are people who are entrepreneurs, who are consultant entrepreneurs, if I may use that, and they are using their knowledge and expertise to make a living for themselves. Now, from my world of doing things, I think I started out way back when I was in primary 5. Growing up in Unyaruguru, we were in a place where we were growing cotton. And cotton is a crop for the poor. There are no rich people who are growing cotton. The rich only have gineries. So we were growing cotton, and I asked my father to give me a piece of land so that I also grow some cotton. And when I grew cotton, I harvested about 30 kilograms. And to get 30 kilograms from cotton, oh my God, you will have toiled like hell. And the best I could do after all these expenses was to buy myself a shirt. Yes, a shirt that I loved. And I exchanged it with my uncle. He gave me a t-shirt. He loved my shirt more. So it starts from way back. And then when I was in secondary school, senior 2, I got myself a camera, a Canon camera. And I started, for those who went to St. Kagwa, if they are online, St. Kagwa High School, there was a teacher, the late Mr. Vampata, who was the official photographer. And I started competing with him, taking students' photos. And then as we were in there, another man who was doing delivery of yellow pages, and there was another delivery company I've forgotten, who now also joined the same business of photography, and he was coming with a motorbike, a huge motorbike. And he would come with jackets and glasses, sunglasses, and the students would climb on his motorbike and then take photos on his motorbike with jackets. So for those who were in St. Kagwa between 1992, if they still have their albums, to around 1995, the students had the same jackets and on a motorbike. And then Mr. Vampata was the official photographer to take candidate class passport photos. And then here I was also with my camera, with a film, and all I had to do was, maybe at the beginning of the term, I come with a film and 1 or 2 Fuji films or Kodak, one of those, and I would only wait when I escape, or when on Sunday we were allowed to go to town, and I go to Ishaka or Bushenyi and find my way to go, and they were calling it developing photos. But I also had an uncle who was a taxi driver on Ishaka, Mbarara Road. So on some of those days, I would jump on his taxi and then take my my films to a studio, which is still called 1 Week Studio in Mbarara town. And then I would put my photos. Now, my edge in there was that I could take photos of fellow students when they are in their vests, in their beds. So while Mr. Vampata was taking the official photographs of these students, especially senior 1s and senior 5s, when they are putting on their uniforms of passport photos and at the school signpost, my age was in having indiscreet photos of the boys being in the dormitory, or where the teacher or this external photographer would not be. And that was my world, continued like that. High school, I didn't do much of it, but I started a magazine, a school magazine called The Voice. I joined St. Joseph's Nagarama in Mukono. And so I started this magazine, school magazine, and I tested it. So, and I started writing. At the end of senior 6, I simply went to the New Vision and told them, guys, I can write. And they were like, what can you write? All I could pull out was a school magazine. It is all I could show. And Mr. Sepuya, who was the associate editor, was like, I think he could do something. There was also a magazine called, it was a magazine by Ackford, Action for Development, a women's magazine. I put in some few articles by one Namatovu, who was the publisher of the magazine or editor of the magazine. And I could earn from my bit of writing. I also started sending in articles at Daily Monitor, and I didn't know that I could actually earn from my writing. At that time, I was only excited to see my articles in the newspaper. And then when I went to Monitor, Daily Monitor, to again submit my articles and poems, the editor at that time was called Adams Kasozi, and he said, have they paid you? And I said, paid? So I didn't even think that writing was paid for. So yes, here I was told that I have some money. And eventually I transitioned to New Vision. I got an opportunity now to New Vision. And I had started teaching, and an article at the time was being paid 15,000. So if you wrote 4 articles, you have your 60,000, and we're talking of 2001. And at that time, I had gotten a teaching job at Turkish International Light Academy in Lueza, Kigo. So, and I was earning about 200,000. So I was like, what if I wrote several articles? So in 1 month, while relaxed, I was actually, I put in several articles, and I earned more than having lesson plans and all and going in class and teaching several classes, senior 1 up to senior 4. And I thought of transitioning directly to the media. And that has sort of been my journey. When I joined the New Vision, again, I was a hustler. That was always something that was telling me I need to be doing something extra beyond my usual job. I went into modeling as a model and into performance arts, acting. These days they call it acting, but whatever we can sanitize that with. So by in 2002 World Cup, I was the advertiser of Habari Salt. I know that even we have people who by 2002 they were not yet born. So, but the World Cup in Japan in 2002, I was featuring on UBC TV, and I think there was also WBS TV, yes, and Sanyu TV. So here I was advertising Habari Salt, and the money I got was 3 times what I was earning at New Vision. And so we started eventually acting at the National Theatre, and we were performing along with Inu Nyankore, meanwhile, along with the late Ruth America and others. So while I had a job at New Vision as a writer and And still, I was also supporting sales executives. So that has been my life of really having a side hustle that sometimes is non-competing with my day job. And eventually I was transferred to Mbarara, and in Mbarara I was like, I needed to, there was trade in milk. I got involved in trading in milk, and I got supplies, and then there was frustrations. So it has always been having something beside my day job. Along the way, I joined Bara University, and then I realized that there was a gap in printing. And so I realized that they were expensive. Every page at the time was printed at 500 shillings. And then I found a way of getting ink from NASA Road. And I thought that I could have a stationery business and do students' dissertations, print students' dissertations at 200 shillings. And every student was coming to me for printing services. And fast forward, oh, there's something I jumped in there. Coming from Bunyaruguru, I don't know if anyone knows. Today they call it Rubirizi District. Rubirizi District borders Queen Elizabeth National Park. And so you look around the people who were successful, or by successful is not today's definition. They had a house, they had a bicycle, their children were going to school. They were either teachers, there were no lawyers, there were no doctors, and there were priests or Catholic priests. So if you wanted to have meaningful, or they were working in the tourism sector. I had my relatives working in the tourism sector, and they were successful at it. So a private company, Zwilling Safaris, came in to Vinyaruguru to establish a lodge in Insere Lodge. And I had done well at primary, so, and I was I think the best in the county. Yes, at that time we still had counties. So the districts you see today were once counties. So I was the best in the county, and I was half orphaned, a mother and with a dad and with a no mother. So they were supporting orphans or half orphans who have done well or who are doing well in school. And I happened to be one of those kids taken on as their beneficiary. So I have been working from the age of 13, and I haven't stopped. So when I tell people that I have actually retired, they're like, "You're still young," and I'm like, "You don't know when I started working." While everyone starts working at the majority is usually at 24 years, I started working when I was 13. I started working as a pantry boy. Pantry boy is somebody who today they call them kitchen runners. You run in the kitchen when the chef is working. You're the one who brings the onions. You're the ones cleaning the plates and things like that. You're ones bringing the chopboard if there's anyone who is in the catering world. And I couldn't be at the front because they did not the companies doing safaris and the lodge did not want to be seen to be involved in child labor. And so that was, I worked in the hospitality for 6 years, straight 6 years. And that was every holiday. So while every kid would be from senior 1 up to senior 6, every holiday would find me at the lodge working. And when I was of age, then I started to work as a waiter and then as a tour guide. And I loved the good life in there. So it was a good experience. We could also eat good food. We could see people sleeping well. And I admired the life of tourists. And knowing that if you want a good thing, you pay for it and you plan for it. And I could see them planning their trips. So today, for those who see me part of Nalia Motel, I'm really trying to relive my baby life of a 13-year-old working at a lodge in the national park. So it is, if I cannot have a lodge in Queen Elizabeth National Park, I can have something that is close to, probably Mr. Eva and I didn't share with you that. So really, at my age of 48, I'm turning 48 this September, and trying to build an Alia motel with my wife. I am trying to live the life of my formative years of 13 to 18. So that has, so when you see us trying to build Nalia Motel, I am actually trying to build Nsere Lodge, which no longer exists. So, and I saw the patience with which they built it. It did not come out in one day, and it was not cheap. From its construction to when its doors were opened. And I could see Ugandan ministers and members of parliament coming for free things, and I hated them. They all wanted to come and sleep for free, and they had all this money, and they were big men and coming for free things. And I remember one of them asking me, "Young man, you speak very good English. Whose son are you?" And I'm like, "I'm nobody's son." And that did not wrap him well. Anyway, so that has been my journey of entrepreneurship. I have always had something that I am doing. I have worked with the NGO world. I have worked with Sendakao in Tinder as their communications person and as their grants person. I have worked with Maldme. I've already mentioned I worked with New Vision. So, and in New Vision in there, as I mentioned, I was even doing side hustle because I was employed as a writer, but I was also doing adverts. So there was always something that I was doing beyond the mainstream. So you've said that people in the group could be those who are on the verge of retirement or who are retiring. You probably look at the gaps in the market, and then you fill in that gap. Probably it is consultancy, probably it is whatever it is that you see that is lacking. I also didn't share with you that I started the clinic in Mbarara because when we started having children and I was seeing how expensive it was, I was like, what does it take to employ somebody to run a clinic? And then when my children are also unwell, we can have free medicine and things like that. We've also established a shop because as we had teenagers, the children, and they want bread every day. And so I was like, why don't we have a shop and then we get these things from Chikuvo? So when some of the small enterprises that have started, when their time ends, I end them and go on to something else. So if you find that the next time you see me, I have sold Nalia Motel, I need to convince my partner, I will have probably outlived it and sell and go on to something else, where I am. Although now, Naliam Hotel or the tourism sector, it is not something that I'm going to exit. Because I didn't start it because I was looking at it as a side hustle. No, it was survival, because I had read a magazine called or not a magazine, a report of the World Tourism Organization, now part of the UN, and they had said that the year 2000, the year 2020 was the year of travel. As Vivian had shared, I have always done something on the side. So while I worked with the Sender Cow, I had a side hustle of Chambura safaris. And that's also another complete story on its own, because I also thought that you cannot run. I mean, there was a gap again in the travel industry, and I thought I could do something along that way. And how did it come about? A photographer in the UK was going to do filming in Uganda for 2 weeks, and he said, Aggrey, can you be our travel fixer so that you get for us a vehicle and find for us where to stay in those 2 weeks? And I was like, why not? So, and he had a very successful filming trip. And they were going to different hospitals. It was a medical filming expedition with the surgeons. And so I was the provider. I booked for them the hotels. And then they were like, that was in 2010. And then they said, why don't you have a company, a registered company, so that whenever we are coming, we can send money in advance. And we find when you've done all the bookings so that we don't travel with money. And then one of my friends had a Land Rover, which he was enjoying, a Discovery. So I was like, give me that car, I will give you money for 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, he earned more money than he ever earned from his Land Rover. So, and then, of course, I met Amos Wekesa and we talked. And then he said, man, you need to leave whatever you're doing and come into the world of tourism. And I have, while he invited me in 2009, I went into it 11 years late, because we had that conversation and he was like, you need to belong into this world. But I was like, I already had 2 sons, and I was wondering if I leave my job and go into this world of hustling, of looking for tourists and you don't have cars, we thought you needed to be having cars. Hey, you know, you have tested the world of health insurance. How are you going to give up all that? You know, when you have these business cards that are nice and well printed, and you have these free clothes of I mean, there is some sweetness that comes. There is the 13th check for those who get the 13th check. I was like, how do I get into that world? Leave this world, the corporate world and its attractions, really. So I could only leave after reading the WTO report that said the year 2020 was the year of travel, and about 1 billion people were going to travel. And I could also feel it in my side hustle of Chambura safaris, because now my side hustle of the travel company was beginning to conflict with my job. You're in a meeting, and then there is an airport drop off or an airport pickup, and I was like, how do I balance this? So August 2019, I was like, I needed to leave this job, and my account from travel business was having about 30 million, and this was from bookings. And I was like, I can start from there. And then I was like, when I looked at my provident fund, I was like, I think I can go and start a life there. And then again, you talk with people. I talked to Amos Wekes, and they said, "Man, and that is when I had already resigned." And it's like, now you see, travel with cars and picking clients from the airport is no longer as lucrative. You need to be having a lodge. You need to be having accommodation. And he said, even if it is one room. So here I was thinking I was going to buy a car and then begin. And he said, you see, when you have a lodge, everyone markets you, because the two things in travel, people will ask, when you're going to Bwindi, the two questions are, where are we going to stay? And along the way, you say, hey, you people, we are hungry. We need to be eating something. So then he said, the dynamics have changed. You need to be into accommodation and food. And that is how we now think of establishing Nalia Motel. And as we start Nalia Motel, COVID hits. So I am sharing this story that as you choose your world of entrepreneurship, there are these other things that are out of your control. And they will not be as supportive like COVID-19. So we are a COVID enterprise, and how we have survived is a story for another day. I would want to first stop here for a moment, and probably people mull on that. Yes, so that then we can talk about our journey with the Nalia Motel and how we have navigated it. It is still work in progress. It is rough. It is tough. Survival is so if I will share with you probably in the next session, if we still have a few minutes, to say that the business you're going to start may not be as easy as you think, because you would think that as you start, you will get rent from there, you will get all these things from it, and that is not true. That's a lie. You're not going to get rent from that business. Thank you.
You're welcome. Wow. Thanks so much for the honest sharing. I think Moms, as Daniel says, Aggrey is a mentor with an inspiring journey. You used to meet him often without knowing the incredible story behind his path. So I think I just agree with Daniel. This story is very honest, is very real, and I think you share so much around how your life has been influenced by entrepreneurship, and how you did not just land into this journey, but it's been a journey that you've really walked. And I think people can be able to relate. I believe we are learning something. Please share in the comment section. We're also going to have a question and answer, where in case you want to ask some questions to Aggrey will be able to respond. But just in a moment, I just want to, I know he's mentioned Nalia Motel, so I just want to share with you how part of what I've seen at the place. So on my screen, this is Nalia Motel. Aggrey, you forgive me if these are not updated pictures, but at least I've seen this. So you can see the look of the facilities there. I've been there and I really liked the place. I like the green, especially the place, and whatever you're doing. So really well done with the work that you're doing. And I believe that we can be able to learn something about your journey, especially where you say that in the era of tourism, it's important that you do not just let's say have a travel company, but having where people can stay is actually a plus. So to those that are around Kampala, I think this is an opportunity for you to be able to visit that facility and see how you can be able to experience the place. I've been there, and the food as well, the local food, like the way you mentioned, accommodation and food. I think I really give you kudos for especially the organic food that you have at Nariam Hotel. So I think we are still interested to be able to even learn more about how you navigated this journey of getting Nariam Hotel from where it is to where it is now, especially for some people that may want to start their businesses. Were you able to embrace the starting small, and how have you been able to evolve through this journey? And that kind of transition, again, like the way you mentioned, being able to know that, okay, I have these funds with me, and meeting Amos Wekesa, who tells you this is how the industry works. So we just want to also get into that journey of how you've been able, but also in your sharings, I think I'm a bit curious in terms of despite you having made a move, are there certain things that you look back and say, if I was to make a move, maybe I would have done better, such that in case somebody's listening and they're thinking about the move, there's something that they can be able to take away and say, maybe I need to wait a little longer. Maybe the problem is not actually the job. I need to see how I can grow my side hustle before I really make the jump. So thoughts around that, but so far so good. And I can feel from what people are sharing here in the chat box that people are learning one or two things. Thank you, Aggrey, and back to you.
So another that I can quickly share, I am at a school where I've come to pick my daughter. She does weekend study. They only study her in the week, and then me at the end of the week I pick them. So the quick one is that if you think that your enterprise or your job is going to give you your salary, please don't leave your salaried job. Okay. I hope people have picked that. Oh,
yes, we're hearing.
Yes. Yes, I was saying, if you think that in the first 3-4 months, your job is going to give you the salary that you've been earning. Hello, how are you? And you think that it is going to give you the job and all these things that you've been enjoying in the corporate world, please don't leave. Two, there are people who will no longer call you because, for example, you've been the chief accountant, so you know the power that you have around you. You know how powerful your business card has been. So, just a second.
All right. Thanks so much for the comments that are coming through. I can see one of a great entrepreneur in the community, Aisha, who runs a Wafe, has visited the place and it's beautiful. That's good to hear. Patricia says entrepreneurship is indeed a journey. Yeah, it's not something that it's not a job contract that you get and just get in there. And Mr. Sheija says, so it says in Uganda, if not Africa as a whole, we fear leaving the job to start a business world. Sometimes it's due to starting capital and the fear of filing of business to pick up. Thanks so much for following, Babazi. John says, very insightful, right from his background. It's a brick by brick build up. Yeah, lessons being learned here and there. Mr. Muhumuza Daniel says, yeah, I think I've shared that already. But thank you so much for following Makandi, Kobel, and quite a number of people. I think in this airline age, it's entrepreneurship. Sometimes it's not an option even for people because the jobs are not as many as they were maybe during when upgrades were getting into employment. So these days, it's actually something it seems like there's even no transition. You transition immediately out of the system, and before you know it, you're into entrepreneurship and you're navigating through. And what even makes it tough, especially in our airline age, is that when we go through school, we are trained to be employees. So the switch between being an employee to now being a business owner is so tough because you are not taught certain things. You are not taught, if you didn't do a BCom like me, you're not taught things of marketing, human resource. You employ people, they disappoint you. But even the resilience itself, you do not have role models. Some of us, our parents do not have entrepreneurial background, so we saw them go to work, and we don't have people to be able to run to. And I believe that that's the reason why we started the Transformational Professionals Club, where we can be able to bring together some entrepreneurs who have walked the journey, somebody you can be able to ask, to be able to just give your experience and hear what they are saying. So it is something that is great. So I don't know, Aggrey, are you available now to be able to speak? You could come through.
Yes. I'm here. Now, there are certain things that you need to be able to have. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes, there are certain things that you as you get into this journey that you need to be aware of, and people will not tell you, or other entrepreneurs will not tell you, because just as I said, as I transitioned the market into the world that I was getting into was already changing, you see. So it was no longer about tour and travel, you see. And yet I was excited, thinking I need these tour cars, and I thought that I would make it there and then by having those so-called tour cars. And here somebody is telling you that actually the market has changed. People are it is in accommodation and food, because tourists will find their way to their destinations. They can jump on a bus, and the next thing is they are in Queen Elizabeth National Park, or they're in Quidepo, or wherever. So, and I am happy that Mr. Macarius is here. He ran. Happy to see him on online. That actually it's now no longer about, because tourists will always find their way to destinations, and so you're also competing with companies because if you're looking at the foreign market, it's saying this tourism industry. Some sobering things is that you will get to know is that while there are so many companies in Uganda in the tour and travel business, 99% of the industry is controlled by Europe and controlled by the European market. So again, those are things that I didn't know, and I was excited in getting into. And as I got into the tourism business, so you will see all these Ugandan companies, but they all are competing for very small monies. And then you will only find maybe 20 companies that have a Muzungu in them, and they control the bigger part of the business. And then we also have people in government who have access to these cars and lodges and all that. So you realize that actually you've only had half the picture, and everyone now is telling you, oh, coffee is the deal, and then you jump into coffee, and then not knowing that actually we've been doing well in coffee because Brazil has been having challenges, and now they have managed their challenges And now coffee is going down. But as we know that, for example, the coffee industry, every 10 years, the prices go up. So if you go in this business thinking that in the next 6 months you're going to make it, please don't leave your job. Okay? But also, if you look at other entrepreneurs, because we've given you just half the story. Because when I was transitioning and with all that excitement, I was lucky that my landlord is my best man. He is my OB. So even when I have no money for workers, I will go to him and say, "Man, best man, I don't have school fees. What do you want? What happens to your children?" Am I speaking? Ivan,
Yes,
are you there?
we are following
So,
closely.
yes. So I can walk up to my landlord and tell him that, Sevo, your children are there. They have no school fees. Okay? Because there is a network, there's a relationship. People were telling me when we were developing this, where Naliam Hotel is located, and these are secrets that I'm here to share, and people probably don't tell you the truth. When we were developing the place, and they were like, "But Aggrey, do you own this place?" I would say yes, because I am doing it not for my landlord. And they would say, Ugandans, you will do this nice thing, and then the next thing they are chasing you out. I can tell you that the best supporter of Naliam Hotel is our landlord. On days, especially in those early days, because we actually got 6 months free rent. So I don't know if I'm scaring people from starting, but I'm telling you the truth. Where is your food going to come from? That office, there are ladies, that office young man who loves you and sends you nice messages and all that, the day you leave that office, he will not send you any of those messages. That lady who loves you and probably pinches and gets lunch with you, when you get into this world of entrepreneurship, she will stop calling. And you will feel abandoned. The colleagues who you thought were your friends and you will realize they are actually colleagues and are not your friends. You have no relationship. You will think Aggrey, who you've been sharing Malwa with and all that will buy for you. No, they will not. You think your family members will support you? No, they will not. They will even laugh at you. If your wife has been a beneficiary of the free gym, those corporate trappings, free gym, free massage, free health insurance, and all that, she will divorce you. She will leave you. Your mother. Now, I can quickly share with you that when I started posting what I was doing and all that, the people to abandon me were actually my aunties, my sisters, and all that. Because when I was in the corporate world, now, for those who are still in the corporate world, you've got to stop the nonsense you're doing. People have not asked you for school fees and you're busy trying to pay school fees. Hey, they will laugh at you. So do not make the mistakes that I made. They will be the first to tell you, Yagwamu. You were going to the village because you were getting free fuel, because your job allows you to have this free fuel card, and you're using company car to go to the village. Now you will even now wonder how you will go to the village. You are with no car, or you've been used to. In Unyaruguru, where I come from, any big car is a Pajero. The Pajero is gone, and now you fear going with your Casienta or Paso. Yes, so your auntie who used to fall sick every now and then today she has swallowed the basin. Tomorrow she has your grandmother has gotten pregnant. They will stop. Okay, and they will be the ones to laugh at you. So when I was posting my Katogo, they were the first to say, "Ha, Yagwa." They will stop calling you when somebody is sick, when there is a funeral. They will stop calling you when somebody has fallen sick or has died. They will even say, "Ha, we forgot to inform you that your auntie died." Okay, are you ready for those? If you are ready, then you can as well come to my world. And then when you get so again, you need a whole support structure, because you hear people like Branson or Zuckerberg have started and things like that, and they say, oh, they started in a garage. I couldn't start in a garage. I needed the job to give me the money to start. Because if Zuckerberg was at Harvard, for people who are probably on this platform know how much it costs to be at Harvard. It is about $30,000 per semester. Okay. And here you have a kid who says, hey, Dad and Mom, you pay $30,000 per 4 months, but I'm dropping out. And then he says he's doing something in the garage. Na garage. You know? So if you look at Branson, he was always being covered by his mother. Okay? His father was a judge. And so our poverty also stands in the way of our entrepreneurship, in our thinking, in creating things, because you're worried about tuja kuliachi omukazi analiachi abana banasoma. So you are worried in all these things. Probably if there are young men here, there is nobody who is putting you on gunpoint to go and marry and go and have children. Okay? Because these are the things that will stand in the way of your creativity. You're not going to tell your girlfriend that, you see, I have to work on this program, on this or this thing, and while she expects you to be fondling her, okay? Or you having a good time with her, and then for you, your bill, she doesn't understand. Okay? So you need somebody to, as you're struggling, as you're in there, somebody to be fixing you some tea, or somebody to say it will be well, you know, because in those moments you're crying, you're crying, you're tearing, you're working longer, while you're complaining that, you know, these guys don't give us overtime. Here in the world of entrepreneurship, people be ready to not sleep for 24 or 48 or 72 hours. You will cry, you will open whatever your shop and nobody is walking into it. Are you patient to wait? I think mbimazeeyo mukulu ibanda.
Thank you so much, Aggrey. Now, I want you to just, I know you've mentioned quite a number of things here, and people who have run business genuinely can be able to relate. And I like Mr. Mbabazi trying to acknowledge some of your points. I would like you to just share from the point, what are some of those things that have kept you going? I know that Aggrey would have looked for a job again, despite the challenges. But what are some of those? What is that other good side that you feel that you've enjoyed being on that journey of entrepreneurship?
If it's about money, no. I will tell you, for example, I'm passionate about food. I love my food. Okay? And I can tell you, there is no better place that will give me the food I want in the whole world, by the way, than the food that Nalia Motel gives. So I'm its first client, and it is the only place that can give me the food I want. Interestingly, my wife also feels the same, that when she goes to a restaurant, she's like, they have not done this food this way. So both of us are foodies. So because we love food, we have an answer for our own problems. But also, it is healthy food. We love healthy food. You can, in this Kampala, if you want local food, in this Kampala, at this time, I am very sorry for you. You can only get unhealthy, sickening food. And then we also do, because at Nalia Motel, we do food a la carte. It is a new thing. Ugandans don't know it. They ask you, muina yochi, but sichenjagala kulia. Can I have a place where I can say, njagala kulia? There are some people who don't speak Luganda. But if you don't know Luganda, I don't know how you survive in Kampala. But yes, I want to eat, say, matok. I want to eat my chicken and cassava. If you're coming from Lango, because that is usually the high-rated food, and I want. Where do you get that food? And it is what you want, or you want to eat your kalo, you want to eat your fish. Where do you get it? And it is not what they have, but it is what you desire to eat. So even at Nalia Motel, when we tell people we don't run a menu, because what is the science of the menu? Macarius is in the hotel industry. A menu is not a list of the foods that this hotel is providing. It is actually a price. So anyone who comes to Nalia Motel and says, what is your menu? We know that you're actually saying, how much are you selling your food? So we are also we're not looking at this client who is asking the menu. We're saying, I want to eat this. And then the next thing they want is, what is my bill? Because they have had a good experience. So, and I can tell you one incident that one of the people who was supplying us fish, it was very good and large and big but it was not tasty. I come from Binyaruguru, where we know the flavor of fish. We have 32 lakes. And so this lady was supplying us fish, big and what, and then I realized it was not tasty fish. Then I called her, but your fish has a problem, Nyavo. It is not tasty fish. Is it pond fish? She said, yeah, it is pond fish, but it is big. But if you don't like it, you can give it to your clients. I said, go to hell. She didn't know that I'm the first client of Nalia Motel. I was like, if it is not good for me, it is not good for the client. So we are serving food that we love, that we want. And we know that there is a market out there. We are willing to wait for somebody who is who wants that authentic coffee. Not mocha, not this, not Muzungu coffee. You know Muzungu coffee, you ask yourself it is from the machine, and then somebody is drinking it immediately. Hey, it has not brewed. You know people who like their coffee and they say, which coffee do you like? They tell you Nescafe. We tell you you're drinking dregs. You're never kanja. For those who do not, that is not coffee. That is coffee for the poor. Okay, so we are trying here to change a system, a food system. And we know that is where life is. I dig deep. I am reliving my life with my grandmother. Macarius, who is from my village, knows the food that our grandmothers prepared. What we are serving at Nalia Motel is food that our grandmothers served. Authentic, nice, and yummy. African food is not, it's tetusika, you know. So it is that it is the food that I would want. Even if I travel, I would say, when do I get back to Nalia Motel so that I eat the food that I want? Okay. So it is that keeps us going. We know that some people have approached us that why don't you meet, for example, the director of the Tourism Training Institute in Ginger so that they can change their curriculum because the hotels in Uganda, and this is the truth, they are not meant for you and I who are on this platform. The tourism industry and the food industry, the so-called continental, is not for Africans. It's not for the African market. So who is cooking food for Africans? Mama Kachara, Mama Nalongo, Bere Dene, you know? So we were like, let's give our local food class. So that is what is keeping us going.
Great.
Have I answered?
Yes, Mrs. Aggrey, you've really answered. I know you put a disclaimer on the money, but the money is going to come. We want to believe that it will come, and
let me put it to you also on that. You know, you want to because, for example, you've gotten your money, you've got your NSSF plus your Provident Fund. It is 500 million. It is 1 billion shillings, and then you're like, you can start a hardware shop. But the guy telling you to start a hardware shop has been at it for 25 years. Do you have the patience to wait for 25 years?
Yeah.
Somebody says, oh, start a clinic. There is money in it. Are you patient? Look at the people who have made it, who they have not gotten the money in 5 years. We don't expect a profit, Nalia Motel to make a profit in the next. We were very ready and very sure that in the first 5 years we will not make. I will not make any money. And I can tell you that in the first 2-3 years, when I took a cup of coffee from Nalia Motel, I felt guilty. Because I was aware I was eating into capital. So I couldn't even afford the food that we were serving. Okay? And so I was eating with stuff, and good enough, we were eating katogo, which is authentic, which is original, which is nice. And we're getting the matoke from the village. So you need to have the patience. When I see, for example, people talking about Amos Wekesa, this guy has been building this business for the last all his life. He doesn't know any other life outside that. So you want to be the next Wekesa, but when he has been building this for 25 years. There is another guy who runs Capital, Crested Capital. I hope there are some people who are investing in the stock market here, and they may be knowing Bob Baldwin. Bob Baldwin there was a time about maybe 10 years ago, we had about 10 stockbrokers. We now have 4. And you know, you have Ugandans convincing you the economy is doing very well. It is a takeoff. You want to meet Kasaija and box him in the mouth, eh? Okay? Because we had 10 years ago, we had 10 stock brokers. Today we only have 4. And the 3, okay, the 3 are with banks, because we have, I don't know if Dan Blair is still around. Maybe it is the other one. But we have Stanley stock brokers, we have Baroda brokers and Crested Capital. Where did the others go? Okay. Now, if anybody who is into the world of economics and hear our well, I didn't want to go into the politics, but I mean, you cannot talk about the economy and money without talking about the politics.
Yeah.
Okay. So this economy has been dying for the last 10 years. If I am only to watch only the trend of the capital markets. I wrote some time back, and somebody told me, you have to shut your mouth, young man, otherwise you. There was a change of the executive at Quality Chemicals, which is a listed company, and there was no movement, either downward or upward. It was static. The share price remained the same. When Kavshenga left New Vision, the share price of New Vision never dipped or went down or up. So if you're in this for the money, please don't come. Eh?
Aggrey,
Yes.
you've really mentioned I think quite a lot here, and one of the things that you've mentioned is the choice of which business to start. And I just want to take you back onto your time well employed and how you were running. In your opinion, do you think it is still right for somebody to be able to run a business alongside their job? And
Yes.
how should somebody be able to
Yes.
balance
Yes.
between the
If
two?
they are employers on this group, if they are employers on this meeting, let me talk to them now. If you do not want your staff to steal from you, allow them to start side hustles. Because at no one time in my work life was I ever involved in any shenanigans. Because I always had some money. Some of my bosses, by the way, and if they are on this group, they will bear me witness. They would come and say, Aggrey, mpayo 200K. And they're like, you get 3 times what I earn. Okay? If you're coming to borrow from me, and I would gladly give. Because as a trip that goes to Kidepo, I now have my 50K per day. Okay? So any employer on this line, allow your staff to have side hustles. They will not steal from you. And also, it is an opportunity for them. It is what they will do when they have turned 60 and you're telling them they can try their talents elsewhere. At 60, you want which talents? Which talents do I still have when you have milked all of them? Okay, so if there is something that you'd want to do, I have also known colleagues who run farms and what, and you're like, please pick interest. If you're keeping cows, and are there people from Ministry of Agriculture and all others, and maybe from Ministry of Health, and they are running pharmacies? Your pharmacy is flourishing because you're getting medicine free from the hospital that you're running. if you're the DHO or if you're the director of the hospital. So if you think you're going to compete with people who are running private clinics, when for you, you have been stealing drugs from the hospital to run your existing enterprise, it will collapse. Some of us are going to come and buy it. Because if you've been running your business with a cushion from somewhere, when you eventually transition into it fully, it will collapse. If you've been getting deals because you run this hotel, because you are the chief accountant of a ministry, and all the workshops go to your hotel, and it has the horrible service, the day you leave, that ministry will stop giving you business, because they've only been giving you business because you're the chief executive. Am I speaking life into people?
Yeah, you're speaking. We're following.
Yes. So if you're running a farm, as in cattle, goats, and all that, but your acaricides, because you work with the Ministry of Agriculture and you've been getting free ones and you have not been putting structures, and now for you do not know that actually the fake drugs are coming from Container Village. And now when you leave your commissioner job, and you will also be like everyone, and these guys maybe from the ministry who have been running the ministry farms in Rubona and other places have been giving you free drugs that are supposed, when they are requisitioning, they requisition extra for the boss, and you're the boss, and you've not been knowing the price. You will find the world of entrepreneurship in running your farm difficult, and you will sell it, or when you die, your children will sell it to us.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Aggrey, for that response. Friends, those that are following, we really want to appreciate you for being here. I know we were moving to 35. We have also people who are following the conversation via YouTube. So we really appreciate your time, being able to be a full conversation. If you've heard Aggrey's story and whatever things he's doing, and you have a question, you can be able to raise up your hand if you're joining the session via Zoom. In case you're joining still via Zoom, you can also share your question in the chat box. If you're joining via YouTube, you can also drop your comment and we'll be able to just respond to that. So I just want to ask you, Aggrey, as we get questions from some people. I think there was a question from
Yes.
Yvonne, who was saying, apart from the food, what else will make me come to Nalia Motel? I know Mr. Mbavas had shared something to do with customer care. Do you just want to give some more hints as we get more questions?
Now, Nalia Motel, I can share with you, Nalia Motel is more than a motel. It is, but you know, what is more attractive? What is less attractive than, or what is more attractive than food? Because we know all wars start when people are hungry. If you've been if you want to test one's humanity, put food. If you want to test a man, put a woman. If you want to test a woman, put gold or money. Okay? So if you want to test each one of us, it's food. So our entry is food, but we're more than food. Nalia Motel is an enclave of, for those people who want to work in a quiet place. We are the only motel that does not play music. You can come and work on your proposal, have your meetings, a few people, discuss your money, discuss your concepts. And because that, I can tell you again that I was doing this for myself, very selfishly, because I would be working on a grant proposal, and you're looking at where do you sit in Kampala, and you are able to really have maximum quiet. and have a good meal, and you know they are not stepping. So I was like, we need to there must be somebody who is looking for a place like this. If you look at, say, and allow me to do this, if you visit Cafe Javas, its setting is eat your food and go. So you cannot be going to Cafe Javas for a date. No, that is not a place to have a date. It is a place to go and have your nice food and go. If you look at its setting. But also we're saying, well, we're not competing with Cafe Javas, but what is it that we're doing? So come and have your good food, local food. If you still want your chips and chicken, we will still give it to you because we have it. And then, but if you want to have a conversation, you want to have a date, where do you have it? It is at Nalia Motel. If you want to be at a place, again, I will use this example. I know the minister who went to a top hotel and they gave him a bribe at that top hotel. I'm not saying you come to Nalia Motel and do your bribe transactions. But I was like, if he had been at Nalia Motel, he would be safe. So we provide safety, personalized privacy. We are about the two P's and E. We are very exclusive. Today we closed the gate, and some people ask, why are you closing the gate? Yes, we need to be very sure that the people who are coming in are the ones we want. We are very intentional. And so people would even say, that is segregative. No, we will not allow students to come into Nalia Motel. Not because because we are close to a school and we know the children we are raising, and they are coming here to smoke and what, we will not allow you. We will not allow those. So if you want your privacy, you want your personalized attention and experience, come to Nalia Motel. It is green. People call it a forest. But when we show them the pictures of where we started from, it was just like any other bungalow in Nalia. Then also, of course, my wife is a florist. She has these flowers. She's into plants and planters. So every plant you see at Nalia Motel, anything you see there, if you like it, we sell it to you. We have, if you like our bed, you will go with it. If you like our mattress, you will go with it. Because we know where to shop all those things that probably you want. If you want the cups that we use or the mugs that we use to serve you, we will give it to you. We shop the world for you, the flowers, the decor, the homes. My wife works on people's homes, and how best do we demonstrate it by the way she has curated Nalia Motel. So if you want a very good living place, Nalia Motel is where we showcase how our homes should be like. So that's the other. She makes organic oils for ingestion and for your body, cosmetics, African cosmetics. Macarius, you can confirm, or others who come from Western Uganda on this platform. There was a specific tree called Omudawa, and that Omudawa would make our teeth white. You brush with it and your teeth are sparkling clean. So you do not now need to go to, I know there are dentists probably on this platform, I'm sorry. But we people go for teeth whitening every 3 months. And here we are saying, we have this powder from this tree from Bunyaruguru, Omdawa, which we mix with ash, and charcoal dust, and you will brush your teeth and they will all be sparkling clean, and it is all organic. There are other organic things that we provide that are in your kitchen, in your garden, but you ignore. But The other is we're trying to really respond to colonialism. When people come to Nalia Motel, they say, are you sure you're not working for a Muzungu? And I'm like, who tells you that good things are not for Africans? So it is also my way of fighting back. So it is really in running Nalia Motel, it is more than passion. It is my fighting space. I can write, and I am not worried that they are going to fire me tomorrow. I still need my license to think.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah,
That's
so
true.
it is my thinking space,
Thank you
and
so much.
yeah. Mm.
All right, thank you so much. I visited Naria Motel, and I would want to agree that the things that Aggrey has mentioned are really in place, and that's why I felt when I visited it, I was like, you need to come and share with us this story. So there are some questions that have come through, and I would like you to
Yes.
just respond to them.
Yes.
So Dora Kangume says, thank you, Aggrey. What other side hustles that one can run effectively while on full-time job? Now, I want to combine this question with a key question that Stephen has shared, which says, thank you, Aggrey, for the insightful presentation. My question is inspired by a friend of mine who once juggled up to 4 jobs, lecturing at university, working in an audit firm, consulting with an NGO, and running her own business. In Uganda, we call this Kuyiriba, the hustle on hustle lifestyle. She often worked past midnight and barely any time for rest and well-being. From your perspective, how does such a multi-hustle lifestyle impact one's efficiency and long-term health? And more importantly, how ambition and personal sustainability?
It's a tough one. Okay. Mr. Ivanda, let me put a disclaimer. I am no motivational speaker. Your health
Yes.
is your wealth. Research has shown that most CEOs die at the age of 54. They go to the gym, they are healthy, they are eating healthy, they fly business class and all that. They die at 54. Why? Because they are not having enough rest. I know people who have quoted those who did history. I think Napoleon Bonaparte and said, a man must sleep for 2 hours and 4 hours and 6 hours and a fool for 8 hours. Who has lived longer than a fool? Okay. And at what age did Bonaparte die? Self-preservation is key. I will work for straight 72 hours, okay? But when I have chosen to sleep, even my children cannot wake me up. Even when my wife says, hey, I am not getting what brought me from home, I will say, I will want my sleep. Okay? So if you are in this Kuyiriba world, put aside once, if you've worked maybe straight 48, 24 hours, the body will shut down. And you do not want the body to be the one to tell you it has shut down. If it tells you, then we will sing for those who are Protestants. We will sing for you, Bariayaka. That's a song that takes people to their grave, to their last resting place. So have time, set aside time to rest. There are times when I wake up to 2 p.m., sorry, to 2 a.m., 3 a.m., or even 4. I will put my phone in plane mode and I will sleep. Okay. So I really value my sleep. And one of the good things is, even if there is a chidongo playing, if it is my time to sleep, I will sleep. Okay. So this business of moonlighting, it is not new, because if you look at it, we had teachers who were moonlighting in more than 4 schools. But sometimes you find that actually your workplace is also a place that has a KO. I know of some lecturers at Makerere University that when it was time for university stock taking, they were the ones actually who would come during that time and do stock taking. I will also give an example of teachers. If you're on government payroll, teachers actually, sorry to say, these guys work only 6 months a year. You know, the first term has 83 days, second term has 86 days, third term has 89 days. I think one of those has 89 days. So combine them. These guys don't, and then they even have they have annual leave. So if you're a teacher, really, how else are you utilizing your time? Eh? Author books, publish books and sell them. I don't know if teachers these days still produce pamphlets. Do that. At Makerere University, we know of, I think recently Makerere University got a very horrible estates manager who said he was cutting all the gardens that were at Makerere, and I was like, the university is producing a fool, and the fool is in charge of management. Because and I'm not sorry, by the way, to say that, because we know that world over, including Rwanda, they have what they call a ndugudu in what is this country? Cuba. They have what they call um, guerrilla gardens. So, and you're here as an estates manager, and you're saying all gardens, all plantations must be cut. Oh, this was the side hustles of these lecturers, you know, and in part of good living, if you're not having, I mean, for those who have had an opportunity to travel to Europe, the people have allotments. So, and now here we're telling you that you cannot have your home of 50 by 100 and you can't grow greens. So the point is, how else are we utilizing the spaces and the opportunities and that are even at the workplace without doing insider trading? If you are working for this audit firm, okay, so who else supplies them soap? Okay. You could, and you can compete like anybody else. If they are hiring janitorial services, you could be the provider of those services. So I can tell you that when I worked with Sendekau, I was their booking officer for these hotels. Okay. So anybody who was traveling, they would be saying, Aggrey, we need a booking. And then when they were trying to do bookings for themselves, they were finding it expensive. And then they were like, but Aggrey, how are you finding it? We want to hold a workshop at maybe Hotel X, I will not mention. And then for us, they have given it at that. And then for you, you're getting it cheaper for us. I'm like, but you're not a booking agent. Okay. Macarius, again, I'm sorry to refer to you again, big brother, on this platform. I will book Serena Hotel because I am their agent. Or what is this place? Paralodge. Whichever audit or the NSSF. Let me use the example of NSSF. NSSF, if it wants direct booking of Paralodge for their staff retreat, Each room, they may sell it to them at $400. I will get it at half price. And I will still get my commission because I am a bona fide booking agent. So that is how else, if you're working with the NSSF and they want, if you tell them this is the choice. Do you want to pay $400 directly or you want to pay $200? The choice is theirs. You talk to the CEO. If the CEO has brains, will say, let's book with this young man or this lady. But of course, we know Ugandans with their jealousies. Okay. Have I answered the question?
Yeah, I'll be able to hear from, but you have answered in my opinion. Maybe Mr. Aggrey, there's a question here in the chat box, which is how do you manage to beat procrastination and self-doubt? I want you to answer that, but also have another question that has come through here. Given you mentioned that it's a struggle, especially in the early stages of business, and even as you continuously run the business, you may not get the same benefits what you've gotten from employment. What are some of those personal financial principles that have helped you to remain afloat, going despite the changes in the lifestyle? Over to you, Aggrey. You're on mute.
Sorry.
You can proceed. I hope you got it.
Am I on now?
Yes, you're on now.
Okay. Okay, you're saying don't mix business money and personal money. So which personal money do you have? In the, of course, one of the things as you do these things, you say, people will. Sorry, I've just reached home
It's okay.
and
It's
I need to deliver.
It's okay. It's okay. And friends, thanks so much for keeping in here.
Yes, I am on now. I am ready.
Yes.
I am on now and I'm ready. So let me answer this question this way. We go into these enterprises full board, and probably some of these enterprises are intertwined with us. So as you get into it, let me answer it this way. And even to answer the previous one, when you are starting, you're the procurement officer, you are the waiter, for example, at an Ariam hotel, you're the cleaner. So if you're this person who at this job you are the boss, and you can't throw away the necktie. If there is matoke to be peeled and there is peanuts to be pounded, you will have to come down to that, my dear. And I know people will say, yeah, why don't you hire somebody? But how many people can you hire? Okay. So when you start, you are everything. And as the business grows, you begin firing yourself. Okay. You stop being the cashier. Okay. And that is when you're very sure that you're in charge. I can tell you in the first week when Judith and I stopped being cashiers, the guy we had appointed stole 800,000 from Naliam Hotel. And he had all the qualifications, highly recommended. He switched off all the phones. We've never seen him. So we were thinking we are professionalizing, eh? And here is a client gave him money for a whole week's booking, 2 weeks booking. Got it, and pretended like he's going to buy airtime or whatever it is. We've never seen him. So in the first years of the business, she will be the cashier. You can't run away from some of these facts. Okay? You will be the gardener, you will be the cleaner, you will carry some of these things on your heads. So probably if you want to transition, start now when you still have some energies for yourself. Because our employers, of course, milk us to the brim, and then of course there is the fear of transitioning. I cannot reemphasize that, but probably yes. Let me now get back to the question of how the fear of procrastination. I am the greatest procrastinator. Because when I have not seen the end, it is difficult for me to start on something. But when I am convinced, I am hell-bent. And when we were running a newspaper, until my friend who I was working with just picked the check from me and said, Aggrey, stop, you're going to die. Okay? And I've done, for example, what this person was saying, that when we were running the newspaper, I would print the newspapers in Kampala and transport them up to Kabale. But on the journey to Kabale, that is when I would utilize my time to sleep on the bus. Okay? But I mean, I would find that I am, so if you have a small time, now you need I would have a few hours of sleep on the bus, but would start dropping the newspapers from Masaka to Lyantonde to Mbarara and Tungamo, like that. So the point is, in the first years of the business, you will work longer. You will have less time of rest, but if you can't rest, please. The other is on the issue of how do you separate your money? If you are lucky and you're able to start with systems and structures, thank God. But some of these enterprises, I can tell you, I am a very structured and system person. So who has been putting me right and telling me, sweetheart, these things can't work this way, is my wife. She tells me, because when we tried to employ a cashier, money got stolen. Okay? And we're like, So if you're going to start a business, even when we are a very, very cash-based economy, people still want to smell the money. When we go to the market in the morning, you go to a window, somebody has to touch the money. Those are some of the hard realities that we're experiencing. We have little influence on people transitioning. But when you go to Kenya, even Mama Mboga says, put my money on M-Pesa. But when you're buying maize across the road, when you're sending money to your auntie, which is to help her, she says, hey, when your employer is paying you your salary or your check, do they also put withdrawal charges? You know? But anyway, the point is, at the beginning, it may be very difficult to separate your money from the business money. It is if you are, and then the other, of course, people want to start big. If you want to start where Nalia Motel is, probably there are certain things, there are mistakes that we made. Even some of those mistakes allowed us to correct ourselves. So let it organically grow. But if you let it to boom, when it is time for it to collapse, it will also collapse heavily. Not that I'm saying that don't invest your big money, invest in your big money, but watch if you have a bottomless resource, keep putting in. But if you can, again, I will go back to the hotel industry. There are few lodges in this country, few lodges that have 50 rooms. If anybody can bear me witness, I don't even think Mwea Safari Lodge has 50 rooms. Para Lodge may not have 50 rooms. If there are people on this platform who have been, because at the end of the day, if we do not have people who are doing retreats, who is going to stay there? Because this country, people don't travel, you know? So the biggest some of these lodges they have maybe 20 rooms, 9 rooms, and things like that. So and then there are the guys who are probably making the money. So if I tell people when they come to Nariam Hotel, they're like, hey, you only have 3, 4 rooms. And then the way you shout on these networks, it is as if there is a structure, a set of apartments next to us. They say, oh, we thought that was that structure. That was Nariam Hotel. No, we're 4-roomed structure, but also feeling that is not easy. Anyway, getting back to the issue of separating your money, if you have that money, it is okay, separate it. But sometimes you do not even know which one is your money and which one is the business money. So are you telling me your children are not going to go to school because that is business money? I am asking, Mr. Evander.
We are listening through from you, and I have quite a number of accountants here who we have quite a number of principles that we follow here and there.
Yes.
But it's also very good to hear from you, because I think
Can I tell you? Accountancy teaches you how to count money and keep money. I'm yet to see lots of accountants who are entrepreneurs, because you have all these principles of risk aversiveness and all that. I get surprised when I find an accountant who has established a business, because the accounting institution teaches you not to make money, but to keep money and not to give out money. And entrepreneurship is about giving away money. I am sorry, guys. You know?
Yeah, no, we really we're glad to hear about your thoughts about the whole journey, and I believe
Yes.
that, people are
I
learning.
can tell you, yeah, I can now put that there are certain, the way we are trained, the way we are raised, and I think Macarius also put it in the chat box, that we fear to start. Yes, it is okay. It is these economies are structured not by us and not for Africans. So the Africans who have succeeded in these economies are outliers. Otherwise, we are trained to be workers, not to be inventors, not to be thinkers. We are trained to be clerks. So it's a whole. I know of a friend who was very good at his job, and they wanted the person to head the research team, to have a PhD, and they didn't give him the job, okay, of the consultancy job, because they were like, the person to lead this must have a PhD. So they gave it somebody who had a PhD. She led the research. The donor threw it away. Then they came back to this guy who had told them, do you want the research done or you want the qualifications? So the first thing we are interested in is the qualifications. So the person with the qualifications didn't do the job. And then they told him, here is the job, please save us. The donor is killing us. He has thrown away the research. And he said, you give me double the money, I will do the job for you in 2 weeks. They doubled the money and he did the job. So do you want the job to be done or you want papers? Okay. So these are also questions that even question our education system. I have told you that, for example, the hospitality industry is not set for Africans. Tell me one hospitality school that teaches how to make luombo, and I will give you a whole 1 month supply of meals at Nariam Motel. For a whole month, you'll have your lunch, dinner, and breakfast. We will even deliver it for you. Show me one, or tell me one. So the whole hospitality industry, for those who have gone to Nakawa, even people are even getting masters from Makerere, wherever. Foolish, nothing for Africans. The tourists, people who are studying tourism, they are not targeting me and you who are on this platform. The tourism sector is structured, and even the people who are teaching it, they are teaching it for Europe, not for you, not for me. So show me let people on this platform tell me which school teaches African foods. People come here, we tell them that we're telling them we have cooking classes, and then the mothers come. Oh, do you teach baking? Who has survived on baking? We tell them your children need to fix their own katogo. They need to make their own, to learn how to make their own porridge. For people who are on this platform, if your mothers didn't teach you how to make food, to make your foods to survive, come to Nariam Hotel and we teach you. Because I know of colleagues who have gone to the University of Reading, and they were like, they are dying. They couldn't eat food. They couldn't fix their own meals. It was expensive to eat in the cafeteria. You know? So it is, so until one of them who, and I am happy to mention him, Kasita. He knew how to make Ibrahim Kasita. He was making his own food, and he had about five guys from Africa who were coming to eat his food. Then I told him, you better begin selling that food to them. Yes, sir.
Great sharings. I know that we are at the top of our hour. I want to again appreciate you, Mr. Aggrey, and more appreciations.
Oh, are there any questions I have that seem like I have dodged them?
No, Mr. Derek says nice listening to Mr. Aggrey. Well, it's been a well detailed with enough examples. So thank you so much. And Patricia says we are pleased to hear, so that we only keep our account for the money, but put it to use and social impact. Aisha says, what does it feel like working with your spouse, being in each other's space all the time and also having money involved? I think you've really mentioned a lot about your wife.
Working with my wife.
It'll be great to just share.
I can tell you at Nariam Hotel, I'm a waiter. So my husband job is when we go home. At Nariam Hotel, I'm a waiter. Even our daughter is a manager. So I have to come down and be ordered around. Aggrey, you haven't taken the cup. You haven't cleaned those cups. Please, you haven't picked those things. Okay. It's a tough one and a difficult one. So we have quarreled in our sanctuary, in our bedroom. We haven't done what brought us together for a whole week. And then you have to put it on the client who's giving you money to send your children to school. Mwina magezi. Remember the Mwina bizibu maybe, and you come from and you can run to your mother. But some of us have no alternative. We have no option, or there is only one option. So we have got to find a way of working with each other. But also it is another thing altogether, because the people and let me annoy some people here. The spouses we married are not our friends. They are not our. We married them for all other wrong reasons. So that is why you will find a lot of friction. So if you married him because he's tall and handsome, so please stay with your handsome tall man, American height, because that is what you bargained for. But not that he was your friend, and not that you could work together or you could stay together. But that is another debate altogether. And but we can only say it is by the grace of God that we are able to work together, but also we've been able to know, because one is my mother was an entrepreneur. Yeah, I think I can sanitize it. My mother was a worker. Teyali mukozi wa government. She was a fishmonger. So on Kasenyi. Sorry, Chisenyi on Lake Edward and Lake George, and Kasaka. So I love, because I am pro women entrepreneurship. It is my duty to let Judith flourish. She's actually the boss at Naliam Hotel. She does everything. For me, my job is to just talk about Naliam Hotel, but other than waiting tables, I do nothing.
Great.
And so you coming down to accept that, you're not good at some of these things, accept it. I am not patient with staff. She's very patient. She trains them. Because I look at my life and I'm like, what the hell? Why can't they do this? And then she's like, it is a different generation, my dear. This is a very entitled generation. And for me, I would be probably working with them for only 2 days and they are fired. Because I look at my life and I'm like, why can't they do? Why can't they be patient? Because I've gone, did I mention that I don't know nothing? I studied nothing.
No, you hadn't.
My children have asked me if I went to school. No, I went to the School of Life. So when I have this employee who is not ready and prepared to grow in the ranks and in the system and the structures and learn something for themselves, the people who trained me, maybe to write or to do grants or to do communication, today they are in their own way. They don't know that actually what they trained me is what is making me survive. The Zwilling Safaris that trained me into hospitality, they are not here. So the young people that we work with today they are. I am sorry. So she's patient with them. I am not at all. I would want even to kick them and beat them. So that is how we have all tried to complement each other. And probably I only bring 10% and she has the 90%.
Great. I like that. I'm very hoping she's the one who takes the money she's the one who receives the money as well, since she's an accountant from her background. But thanks so much for sharing. I believe that some people say it's very hard to with a spouse. Okay, some people say it's hard to work with a spouse, but Aggrey has shared some of the things that he really does, especially in creating boundaries between work and home, which is very good. So thank you so much, everyone who has joined through the session. We are the Transformation Professionals Club. We usually host these sessions every Friday. In case you want to be part of our community, WhatsApp community, I had earlier shared a link within the chat box, but I can be able to just share it again for you, such that you can be able to be part of the community, to be aware of our next session that we usually have. We also usually have quite a number of other programs that are to help you as an entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur to be able to move to this journey. But also, in case you're a career professional, we also have quite a number of programs that are to help you on that journey. We have an upcoming masterclass that we'll be organizing on August the 9th. So in case you want to be part of a physical masterclass, a physical networking event, make sure that you start planning to be part of it. We'll be sharing with you more information, but always glad to have you. In case you want to have a one-on-one, you can please reach out and we can be able to create that. And in case you want to connect with Mr. Aggrey, Mr. Aggrey, would you want to share your contacts and how people can reach you? And maybe that would also be good.
Yes, I'm on WhatsApp 0775414596. 0775414596. My email address is nshekanabo@gmail.com. I'm not sure. Maybe I need to type it in the chat group. But I'm also
All right, you've gone on mute, Mr. Aggrey. But yeah, we've shared the contact in there for Mr. Aggrey. You can be able to tap it and save it. He was trying to share with us his email address, which he's trying to type, I think, which is good. And
am I here now? Can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you. Proceed. You keep muting. We can not hear you now. I think you're on mute. But in case, yes,
can you
now
hear me?
yes, you can now speak.
Okay. I am on Facebook as Nshekanabo Aggrey or Aggrey Nshekanabo. I am on LinkedIn as again Aggrey Nshekanabo. I am on X as if you're looking for Aggrey Nshekanabo, you'll still get me. I am also on TikTok, Nshekanabo, the Katogo King. I am very low on Instagram, but also Google made things easier. You can search on what else I can do. And please, you can come to Nalia Motel and we have a meal, coffee, Katogo. We've tried to make Katogo very classy. So yeah, that's me, sir.
All right,
And
thank
I'm
you.
always I'm at Nalia Motel, especially on weekends.
All right, thank you so much. I'll just want you to just share your last words, closing remarks, and then we conclude the session.
Okay. The circumstance, it is circumstantial that you can now call me an entrepreneur. I never chose, I think it chose me. Probably if I had been born in maybe in circumstances different than mine, or if I was if I had been born, if I was maybe in the state of my children, I wouldn't be an entrepreneur because I come from the background where our parents were called peasants. And today my children cannot say their father or their mother is a peasant. And so for me, the world of entrepreneurship was about survival. Okay. And I have now shared with my children that their entrepreneurship now is to build on what myself and my wife have started. So the entrepreneurship is in about automating the system, having people don't have to come here and they order their meals and they are delivered. Their entrepreneurship, for example, I talked to somebody from these food delivery agencies, okay? And he was telling me that Nariam Hotel with our kalo and soup of fish and what cannot be on their thing because the setup of the food curry boxes is also not for Africa. It is not to carry soup. It doesn't carry food. It doesn't carry our African food. It carries chips, chicken, dry food, really. And so my children now, or if anybody wants to be an entrepreneur and you want to be in the line of African food, then it means we want somebody who will make boxes for these guys who are riding bicycles, to be making boxes that carry Ugandan or African food. So that becomes their line of entrepreneurship. They need to be building systems on how this food can reach everywhere, that it can be ordered online. I am still in the analog. I want you to come in and have this food. So if they can be entrepreneurs and see how this food from Rees or St. Antonio's or from Mama Kachala, Beledene can reach different homes, you'd make it big. That is how your entrepreneurship could be. If you can automate how this food or how we can do the bookings or how we can prepare these foods faster and quicker and better, yes. So really my entrepreneurship was not about because I chose, it was a means of survival and living my nostalgic, because if I'm not going to Bunyaruguru again to live there in the next 5 years, but can I have my Bunyaruguru here in Kampala? Can I have my Ankole here in Kampala? So it is really what we're creating around Nalia Motel is about that if you're not able to go back to Arua, can Arua come to you? That's really what we're trying to create. But also that it is a journey. We are not yet there. I think it is even very, maybe because we have survived the 5th birthday, but I can tell you that what has kept us going in those 5 years is not the money from the business. No. If anybody tells you that, he is wrong. For the last 5 years, we're still putting money in Nalia Motel. We're getting money from somewhere else. We are being cushioned by other people. We still get food from the village. You know, my aunt still sends us food, sends us millet. But what we have done is that we are also creating enterprises for them that if my aunt is sending us a bunch of matoke, we buy it from her. If she's selling millet, we buy the millet from her. If the beans, we buy them from her. So we do not, when they know that they are also going to be benefiting from Nalia Motel. Instead of asking us that Judith, Aggrey, send us school fees, we're like, send us matoke and we send you the money. And we even find it a little cheaper because by the time a bunch of matoke reaches us, it is about 30,000, and it is bigger and better than the one we buy in Chaliwajara or Nalia. So we have also created smaller enterprises. We belong to the community. I can also share that our biggest clients, 90% of the clients that come to Nalia Motel, we know them. So how are you utilizing your networks? Please, Mr. Iwanda, don't create a WhatsApp group, because I will post the photo of Nalia Motel and you will chase me. So we try. I have exited WhatsApp groups that are useless for me. If I cannot sell Nalia Motel or Chambura Safaris, I don't need that WhatsApp group. So my OBs and OGs, or the people I went to university with, are our first clients. They are the people that recommend us. Thank you.
All right. Just to share that in our WhatsApp community, we have Market Tuesday, where people can share about their businesses. So thank you so much for those closing marks. I believe that we've picked one or two things, and we'll be able to to think through our journeys and see what way to be able to go with our decisions, but also to think through the entrepreneurial journey, not just look at the good side of it, but to be aware of the journey, such that when we make the decisions, we know what we are jumping into. So for me and the team at the Transformational Professionals Club, we just want to say thank you so much. I know that you mentioned Friday is a challenging day for you to be part, but you said, I'll make time for it. This is just to say thank you so much. And thank you so much for the work that you're doing at Nalia Motel. Great work. And we know that God will continue to bless your business as it continues to grow. So thank you so much to our audience who has come through, and people who have waited till this long as part of this conversation. We don't take it for granted. As always, we are here every Friday from 7 to 9, trying to share with you such incredible stories like the story of Mr. Aggrey. So next time, invite a friend. In case you're not part of our community, I shared a link to our WhatsApp community. Make sure that you join, and let's have these conversations. I believe once we have people like Mr. Aggrey come through, share, there's one or two things that we're able to learn and we're able to apply. Sometimes we go into different journeys with a lot of abstract, a lot of theories. But when we hear from people who have walked the journey, you know what to do better and how to handle how the things can run. So much appreciated. Even to those that have followed the conversation via our YouTube channel, we also really appreciate, even if you're watching this as a replay. And from this, from myself and the team at the Transformation Professionals Club, we're a community that is here to help you connect. So once we have these conversations, either physical or online, but also to help you to be able to learn, grow, and earn at the end of the day. So thank you so much for being part of this, and may God bless you. Have a blessed weekend. Bye-bye.
Whoa.